original.
Hello, and welcome to Web Crawlers, the podcast where we do a deep dive into some of our favorite unsolved mysteries. Each week, we will introduce our topic, lay out our research and findings, reveal some conspiracy theories, and conclude with our own hypothesis. Who knows, we might even solve the case. I'm Allie Siegel.
I'm Melissa Stettin.
And I'm producer Maria.
Web Crawlers has a Patreon to get access to rewards, bonus episodes, ad-free episodes, and video versions of all these episodes a day early. Please go to patreon.com/webcrawlers. You can donate as little as $2 a month to become one of our bimbo patrons. Also, please don't forget to review us on Apple Podcasts. If you have not, ask your parents, ask your friends, ask your cousins. Because the more reviews and subscriptions we have, the higher we get on the charts. And so far, we are only charting in South Korea. So
Great.
We would like to spread that a little further. Urios also has a hotline. Let's insert people are begging for the jingle. So let's insert that again.
You've been singing it, and I'm like, I'll leave in the singing, but you know what? I'm going to insert it right here.
626-604-6262.
People are gagging for it. So leave us voicemails. We're getting tons of voicemails and we're obsessed with them. Watch out for those in our mini episodes. Melissa, who are our new patrons?
We've got Matts, Amanda G, Lee P, Hannah G, Stacy M, Shannon A, and Robin.
Guys, welcome to the team. We are so happy to have you. Melissa, what's our episode for today?
So this episode was suggested by Jake Not Jacob 35 from the Discord.
Okay.
Cool.
Discord is full of ideas. If you're not on the Discord, get in there. The link is, you can get to it from our Instagram. So, in 1966, the bodies of two men were found in Brazil with lead masks and a notebook containing mysterious messages with them.
Oh, damn.
Were they secretly selling radioactive material to the criminal underground?
Ooh.
Or did their obsession with the occult have anything to do with their deaths?
Love that.
Let's get into it. So, on August 21st, 1966, Brazil authorities received a tip that there were two dead bodies on top of a hill, which is about 100 miles north of Rio de Janeiro.
I thought you were going to explain what a hill was for a second.
On top of a hill.
A hill, which is
an arc-shaped
massive land.
It's a big bump.
It's a big bump in the earth. Sometimes there's big ones called mountains that are caused by tectonic plates rubbing together.
Whoa, okay, Bill
Melissa,
Nye.
jeez.
I'm a
Calm down,
seismologist. That's not the right thing. A geologist.
Yes.
So the cops found the corpses of two men. They were wearing suits and raincoats, and they had masks made out of solid lead lying next to their bodies. Mm-hmm. And the masks were they were more like sunglasses.
Okay.
And there was a notebook with cryptic messages also next to them. And there was no signs of any obvious trauma or struggle. So what in the heck happened to them?
I hope you tell us.
I'm about to. Get ready. So the two men were identified as 34-year-old Miguel Jose Viana and 32-year-old Manuel Pereira de Cruz. They were electronic technicians in the town of Campos de Goitacazes near Rio de Janeiro. And they were both married, they had families, and they were well-liked in their community, just a couple normal dudes. And 3 days prior to their bodies being found on August 17th, they told their families that they needed to buy work supplies and they were going to look for a used car to possibly buy, and they would be gone for the afternoon. They're like, we need to do some business stuff. We'll be back. But instead of buying work supplies, they hopped on a bus to a nearby town, Nitroy, which is actually a 5-hour bus ride away. And so their bus arrived around 2:30, where they stopped by an electronics store, but they didn't buy anything. And then it started to rain, so they stopped by a store to get raincoats. And then they stopped by a bar to buy a bottle of water. And so witnesses later claimed that Miguel seemed very nervous and he was constantly checking his watch. So, like, did this have something to do with what they were planning? Like, they saw him in the bar buying water, like, come on, let's go. We gotta be somewhere.
Well, he definitely was like meeting someone then.
Uh-huh. And so the two men are next spotted at 5 p.m. near Vinton Hill. They were getting out of a Jeep, which was being driven by someone with blonde hair, and there were 2 other men inside. So were they hitchhiking? Did someone bring them somewhere? And the next time they were seen was when an 18-year-old by the name of Jorge de Costa Alves saw them lying on the ground on top of this hill, this bump in the earth. And he assumed that they were asleep. But then he went back up there 2 days later on August 20th, and he smelled something really awful. And he saw the bodies. And so he ran to tell the police, like, there's these 2 guys up on this hill, like, I think they're dead.
Oof.
And so the police found the bodies, and near them was an empty bottle of water, 2 wet towels, and a notebook with various notations in it.
Maybe a portal was opening.
Well, you're onto something.
I'm good. I am good.
You are not far off. So there was a list of electronic part numbers that was in the notebook, and which have some speculated were encrypted codes, though the evidence appears that they were simply part numbers used by the men over the course of their day job. So these numbers were electronic numbers because they're both electricians. But also in the notebook, there was a cryptic note. And it said, this is translated from Portuguese, Sunday, 1 tablet after the meal. Monday, 1 tablet in the morning on an empty stomach. Tuesday, 1 tablet after the meal. Wednesday, 1 tablet before bed. These were like weird pill instructions.
Huh.
And so another page said, 4:30, be at the specified location. 6:30, ingest capsules. After the effect, protect metals, await mask signal.
What?
Okay, that's weird.
I told you it's cryptic. I told you.
You were right about that. My God.
So now I'm thinking it's either like a portal with like strong radioactive activity, so they had to be careful for that, or they're time traveling.
You are getting warmer.
I'm an occult genius. Okay,
The
continue.
men also had receipts for the raincoats and for the water bottle and a small amount of money on them. And they reportedly left home with $1 million Quizeros, which is about $2,000 to $3,000 US. Which back in 1966, that was a lot of money to just have like in your pocket.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no toxicology tests were done on the bodies.
What?
So what, if anything, the two men ingested is unknown. But the cause of death, however, was determined to be cardiac failure.
Weird.
So the bodies were also undisturbed by wildlife. Like birds weren't even pecking at the bodies. So like something unusual must have been going on. And like that kid who found them, the 18-year-old, said they smelled so bad. And like, yeah, dead bodies smell really bad, but he said this was like a smell like he'd never smelled before, like something just like weird.
Huh.
So these masks that they had, they were homemade. They were the size and shape of sunglasses, and they didn't cover the entire face. So they were presumed to only be for their eyes for radiation. Like you use lead masks for radiation, and they were only for their eyes. So they must have been like looking at something or like shielding their eyes from something. What was weird is that there was another dead electrician 6 years prior. So Miguel and Manuel were not the only male technicians to die on a hilltop in Brazil in the 60s.
Excuse you?
You're excused. 4 years prior, in 1962, a television technician named Hermes was reported to have been found dead on Morro de Cruzeiro, also in the state of Rio de Janeiro. And a lead mask was found near Hermes' body as well. He reportedly took some drugs and thought he could pick up some radio signals with his mind.
Can I interject real quick?
Yes.
Okay, so there are pills that you can take to help prevent radiation.
I have those in my house. Iodine.
Yeah.
Oh,
Whoa,
yeah.
you do?
Emergency kit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, potassium iodine. And you,
I wonder if that's what they thought they were taking.
yeah. So if you take, it comes in 2 strengths, 130 milligrams and 65 milligrams, and apparently, if you are exposed to radiation, you're supposed to take it, and it clears from your body in your urine.
Okay.
I wonder what the dosage is. I wonder if it's similar to what they were.
If you can OD on it too. If you can like take too much of it.
Oh, maybe.
So at the bus stop before their trip, the 2 men actually ran into Miguel's niece, who asked them where they were going. And Miguel told her that it was top secret. But when he returned, he would know whether or not he believes in spiritism, which is what he told his niece. And spiritism is the belief that spirits or souls of the dead communicate with the living through a medium or psychics. And it was very popular
I know what
in Brazil.
happened here.
Let's hear it.
What happened here?
What did you hear?
I think they were gonna like take some sort of poison thing to like go be like halfway between life and death.
Like Heaven's Gate type of thing?
Yeah, something where it was like they wanted to connect with the spirit world, so they thought they could like go between through taking pills.
Right.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So
It's just a theory. It's just a theory.
It's a good theory. It's a good theory.
Thanks.
But yeah, spiritism was extremely popular in Brazil at that time. It's like one of the most like popular beliefs. So during their investigation, the police spoke with Elcio Gomez, who's a friend of Miguel and Manuel, who told them they were all part of a group of scientific spiritualists and a secret occult society who experimented in various ways. Nearly every electronic specialist in this area was involved in this society. And for example, 2 months before Miguel and Manuel died, they built some type of device in Manuel's garden in an attempt to contact Mars. And they were unsuccessful, and the device exploded by accident. And then Manuel found a strange powder in his garden, which to him was evidence that a spirit had been there. Like this whole device exploded, but he found this like weird powder, and he was like, oh, a spirit must have been here.
Huh.
And Manuel's father reported that they tried another experiment. On June 13th, 1966, numerous witnesses reported an explosion on the beach in Espírito Santo, which is near Rio de Janeiro. This explosion apparently rocked buildings as far as 15 kilometers away. And local fishermen also witnessed the event. And they reported that a flying saucer was seen to fall into the sea.
What?
And after this experiment, Miguel and Manuel found that powder again. They're like, there's this mysterious powder showing up every time we do these experiments. Like, what is this? So a night before that beach experiment, the Navy picked up a conversation on 3 different radio stations that they didn't recognize. And Manuel and Miguel apparently ran a secret radio station. So one of the signals came from them. These 2 guys, they were getting up to no good.
Oh my God.
And so the other 2 signals are still a mystery. So who are they talking to? Like, who were Miguel and Manuel talking to on this like secret radio station? And then the investigators searched Manuel's workshop. They found tools and lead scraps used to make the masks, and a book with passages about intense luminosity highlighted, which is probably the reason they wore these lead eye shields, because they were expecting to experience intense luminosity. But the authorities determined that the handwriting on the cryptic message found at the scene of their deaths belonged to neither Miguel or Manuel.
What?
So it wasn't their handwriting in these notebooks. It was someone else.
What was the person that gave them the pills?
Right. It was someone who was explaining, like, this is what you need to do. So some theories Initially, the police thought that Miguel and Manuel were involved with smuggling electronics equipment, which had been difficult to come by in Brazil at the time, or they were trying to sell illegal radioactive materials to the criminal underworld. And when the deal went wrong, the men were killed and dumped on Vintum Hill in an evidently successful attempt to baffle the authorities. Like they wanted to make it look like they killed themselves or something, which is like, doesn't really make sense to me.
But still, like the electronic numbers and the when to take the pills and the masks and stuff like that. That seems, I don't know. That doesn't feel right to me.
UFOs is another theory.
Yeah, let's get into that one.
Yeah. So the men could have been following strange instructions from aliens. And the capsules and clothing was meant to protect them from the radiation of a landing UFO. Mm-hmm. So on the night that the two men died, Gracinda Barbosa Coutinho de Sousa and her children reported seeing an oval-shaped object that was like orangey color, and it had a band of fire around its edges, and it was sending out rays in all directions, hanging over the top of Vintum Hill.
What?
So, and according to De Sousa, the object rose and fell vertically for some 3 or 4 minutes. And multiple other witnesses called in with that same exact story. So perhaps their souls exited their bodies, and they went up into this UFO.
Or that UFO killed them.
Or the UFO killed them. I like to think that it was Heaven's Gate style. They hail bop came down.
Yeah.
Sucked their souls out.
Hail bop.
Bop, bop, hail bop.
Dee da ba hail bop. Beat bop bop beat.
What are those Hanson brothers up to? What are they doing?
Oh my God, it's crazy you say that. I looked them up like 3 days ago.
What?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
They're married. They have a ton of kids, and they're all married, and they're just kind of living their lives. I think they were on tour and stuff. I think they still get around.
I think one might be QAnon. I think the oldest one might be Hanson speaks on QAnon conspiracies.
No. Which one? The youngest one?
Oh, wait. No. This is a different guy. Hold on. Like oldest Hanson brother.
QAnon.
Weird.
You're talking about Isaac Hanson.
Yeah.
Hanson, QAnon. Fans have criticized the boy band Hanson for a perceived lack of support for Black Lives Matter, along with anti-COVID stances.
Oh no.
Okay, here it is. Hanson singer Isaac Hanson's bizarre conspiracy theory claims COVID-19 is a war on Christmas.
What? Oh no.
Isaac Hanson, one of the 3 brothers behind the song Mbop, shared a rant on his Instagram story in which he said he wouldn't comply with the government restrictions meant to limit the spread of coronavirus. At some point very soon, Christians and churches, and for that matter, anyone of any faith is going to have to decide, is your faith more important than your fear? He wrote earlier this week. Hanson implied that the government bodies were using the virus to do away with holidays, claiming Easter has been canceled and Christmas was next. We are quickly approaching Christmas, and it too will be canceled by our governments, just like Easter was and Thanksgiving is going to be. I, for one, will not comply. I fear God more than I fear death, and far more than I fear my government.
Isaac, no.
Well, Hanson's canceled. If you know the Hanson.
Yeah, Hanson's canceled.
No more Hanson. Sorry. Anyway, so another theory about these guys. So one of the more believable theories came from someone who is very familiar with the spiritualists in the area. He said that the men were probably trying to contact spirits telepathically using high-frequency thought waves. And a lot of the local spiritualists use psychedelic drugs like LSD or mescaline to enter a higher state of consciousness. However, deaths from LSD are extremely rare, and when they do occur, it's usually when it's taken with alcohol, triggering a heart attack, stroke, or respiratory failure. So there's no evidence that the men were drinking anything but water at or before their deaths. So the capsules could have been tampered with, but there was no toxicology report.
Maybe they had like fentanyl in them or something.
Since they were spiritualists, they probably had instructions from someone who was like, go to this hill at this time. There's going to be some intense light coming, like either a UFO or like some sort of spirit's going to be coming down to like take you to the next life. And you need to take these pills, and whatever they took killed them.
Right.
I mean, it's not surprising. It was probably like some weird mixture of a bunch of shit. Like, and if you think about it, people have died doing ayahuasca before. I recently watched this documentary on ayahuasca, and people like had severe seizures, and like I think they went into cardiac arrest is what happened. And so,
oh my God, there was that place in Florida that like,
yes,
whatever documentary that was, where that person like had a seizure, I think, or like something
and died, and the place is still open.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's fucked up.
Ayahuasca is so unregulated. I think ayahuasca is insane.
Like, I would never do.
Is that the one you throw up on? Is that the one where like you do it in a group and then everyone vomits together?
Yes. I can't think of anything worse than being in a room.
That's the most horrible
of vomiting people like on drugs, like,
and then you like trip out and allegedly have like this spiritual experience. But the thing that's so weird is like these people, like some people do it once, which is like, okay, do ayahuasca once, but then these people end up doing it all the time.
Oh.
As like a means of therapy. And I'm like, just go to therapy. Like, I don't know.
It's wild. And like there are a lot of people who are like drug addicts who did it. Yeah. And they say it's helped them. And I'm like, yeah, that's like,
of course it helped you. You're doing drugs.
Yeah.
If you're doing a different kind of drug, it's like go to a 12-step program and like stick with it. That'll work. Like, that's really pissed me off is like when they were like, yeah, I had a really bad drug addiction and ayahuasca saved me. Like, yeah, because it's drugs. Like you're not sober now. You're just doing a different drug all the time. You know, like,
yeah, it feels like if you do it once and it's like, oh, this cured me. This like experience helped me. It's like, great. But like if you have to keep going back and doing it, it's like maybe it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Yeah, like if you're doing ayahuasca,
to like they get addicted to like the mind, the openness of their mind or whatever they think is going on. You know?
Yeah. That being said,
I need to learn more.
I think it has helped people with their depression when they do it like once, and like that's beautiful. Like I'm so open to like seeking, obviously, but like I don't know, ayahuasca really weirds me out. Like I think it's really unregulated, and like if you're gonna go to a small village in Peru with like a true shaman and do it like a real spiritual experience, great. But like don't go to Florida with some jabroni where like people have died there and like journal with a bunch of white people. Like it's just crazy. Anyways, that's my ayahuasca rant.
So they could have, whatever they took in that pill, they thought that maybe. But what's weird is that, remember the instructions were like taking the pill like for days leading up to this event. It was like, take it in the morning, take it at night, take it in the morning. Like
maybe they were microdosing.
That's possible. Another theory is that they were just murdered.
Sure.
So if they believed that they could contact spirits on Mars, they were probably easily manipulated, and the money was missing. Their money was missing. They took...
Oh, interesting.
$1 million, whatever currency that is, which is like $2,000 or $3,000, and there was no money on them. They couldn't have spent. Where did they spend all that money? The witnesses says they bought a raincoat, they bought a bottle of water, and then a jeep full of people dropped them off so they could like walk up this hill. So at some point they didn't have any money. At some point they lost that money. So in the notes that were written down seemed like they were in some sort of shorthand. So was someone like dictating the notes to them? Someone was writing it, telling them what to do, telling them to meet them on top of this hill.
This sounds very like Friar from Romeo and Juliet-esque, where he was like, You know, where he was like, Juliet, go take this thing. It's gonna, like, you're not gonna die from it. Don't worry. And then Romeo's gonna see you and he's gonna freak out. And then, like, everything's gonna be okay. Like, it seems like someone
he's gonna
did that
lose his shit.
Yeah, Romeo's gonna, like, chill out because Romeo's gonna lose his shit, but it's gonna be okay. And you guys are gonna, like, live happily ever after. But it seems like someone did that to them. Was like, here's some pills. This isn't going to kill you, but you have to listen to these directions, like, exactly. Yeah. And then it went wrong. Something went wrong. It was those pills.
Yeah. Because they lied to their families about where they were going. So it was like, this was secretive already. Like, it was some weird mission they were on. And so maybe they paid for these pills that ended up being poisoned.
But then what was that thing that everyone saw?
What thing that everyone saw?
The UFO, the burning orange light.
Oh, yeah, there was a UFO. There was a weird light that happened.
Oh, yeah, the UFO.
What light? Yeah.
What weird
The
thing?
UFO. Yeah.
Well, maybe they had a bright flashlight with them or something. Could that?
Oh, maybe they maybe a flare. Like, they had flares. They felt sick and they let off a flare.
Yeah.
Why is that hilarious? That's like a totally possible thing. Letting off an orange flare in the sky.
No, it's not. It's just funny to me.
I let off a flare every time I have a stomach ache.
Yeah, exactly. These two guys are on this hill and they just, like, are like, oh, I don't feel well. Send up the flare.
Help.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah, it seems like whatever was in the capsules probably killed them, whether it was, like, intentional or not. As for these lead masks, like, they were most likely worn to shield their eyes from this quote unquote intense luminosity or this of the spirits that they were trying to see, like on the hilltop. Like, maybe they were trying to see something.
Were they near any sort of government airspace thing? Were they, like, near?
That's a good question. Vintum Hill in Brazil.
Maybe it's near Raytheon.
Oh no.
This is very, like, Dyatlov Pass.
It is.
Yes.
It is. And it's weird. I think it's weird that 6 years prior to them dying, the same thing happened to another electrician who was a part of this, like, spiritual group where he had a lead mask and he died. So, like, someone's given someone some fishy information on how to, like, contact spirits or something. I don't see any government buildings nearby.
There's not even, like, some sort of city council.
Maybe it was a Yeti. It's crazy that they didn't do a toxicology report. Like, I guess they just didn't think. I don't know. Cops what are they doing? That's the first thing you do. Yeah, I think they were spiritualists. They were trying to contact some higher being, Romeo and Juliet style. They were trying to play dead, and then they got buried alive.
That's what I think.
Oh, God. How horrible. They took pills that would, like, stop their hearts or make it seem like they're dead, and then...
Yeah.
Remember that happened on Lost?
Yeah.
Somebody took these pills.
But it sent them back in time.
Got buried.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the bright light.
That made it... Or no, he got bit by something. Yeah, like bit by, like, a tarantula or something that paralyzes your whole body for, like, 12 hours. And, like, it stops your... Like, makes it seem like you're dead. And they got buried alive. And then they woke up and they were, like, alive after the poison wore off.
I don't think this happened on Lost.
Lost? Where did that happen?
It definitely didn't happen. I've seen every episode of Lost 4 times.
Some point. At some point in my television watching, something bit somebody and it caused them to be paralyzed, and they thought they were dead, and they buried them, and then, like, they woke up underground.
Something that would have happened on Buffy. Was it Buffy?
I've never watched Buffy.
Maybe it was Spider-Man. Okay, guys, Raytheon does work with Brazil, but I don't think they have a headquarters there, but they are in charge of their air traffic and surveillance. So, just saying.
Okay.
And Raytheon was the place that had the weird address of the invisibility cloaks in the parking lot next to the Cecil Hotel.
Oh, right.
That's right.
So,
It is an episode of Lost.
You're crazy. What?
Paulo and Nikki being buried alive while paralyzed. Remember Nikki and Paulo?
I did. That was season 1.
There's a venomous spider that causes Paulo to be paralyzed for 8 hours. Nikki and Paulo are then buried alive by Sawyer and Hurley after tossing the diamonds of the grave with them as they consider them to be of no value. And they die. Oh my God, it did happen.
Wow, joke's on me. You're right. I'll admit when I'm wrong. You're right.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. Well, you're right. Melissa, if people have any ideas about like what happened to these two men, Miguel and Manuel, where can they reach us?
You can email us at webcrawlerspod@gmail.com.
Alrighty, guys. Well, let us know what you think. I am Allie Siegel.
I am Melissa Buried Alive Stetton.
And I'm Maria Juliet Blasucci.
Oh boy.
Great.
And I'm Romeo, honey. Bye.
Bye.
An Erios original.
Powered by Acast.